We're live on YouTube. Jesse Spencer with J3 Commercial. Thanks for being on the podcast, my friend. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So we connected a while back. I don't know if you remember, but we were looking at some projects in Southeast Florida, and I believe the Miami-Dade market. And then we
hmm
connected, and then just recently reconnected again on an EXP commercial kind of webinar. Hit it off, and really appreciate you being on the show, man. Um,
Yeah.
I'd love to, get you to tell us a little bit about who you are and your background and how you got into commercial real estate.
All right. Well, I have a long history. So I grew up just outside of Philadelphia in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. Joined this program called the Civil Air Patrol at the age of 11. It's the Air Force Auxiliary. We have different avenues. We have emergency services, cadet programs, and aerospace education. I've been doing that since I was 11. Doing that, I decided I wanted to either go into the military or become a police officer. And then I actually became a police officer at the age of 20. Did that for about 7 years in the suburbs of Philadelphia as well as Philadelphia. And then they put me on 12-hour shifts, and I was taking a personal day and a vacation every other month. Came down to Florida and went back to Pennsylvania in January from Florida and packed up my car and was down here in February.
Wow. So
Um,
so you showed up on those sandy beaches and was like, I'm done with
yep,
Philadelphia.
that's exactly what happened. Uh, I was down here 2 weeks later,
Wow.
and the police department did give me a year to come back. That year came and went.
Amazing. Well, so was there like a transfer that you could have like taken advantage of, or did you reconnect with another department, or what happened from there?
So I did go to the academy down here in Florida. It was only a 2 week program. It's called equivalency training. So it's basically just the law, firearms, emergency vehicle operations, and defensive tactics. I did do that, and I got into commercial real estate or residential real estate. My apologies. And I was enjoying that I can have nights off. I'm not going to say weekends off because in residential you don't get weekends off, which I was hoping for in the beginning. Um, but I did get to have holidays off sometimes, and I enjoyed uh, basically whatever I put into the business, I got out of it. So with police work, it's more responsive and kind of looking for stuff to find. I don't get me wrong, I love police work. I do miss it, but just the lifestyle I think is different and it's more healthy being in real estate than it is being a police officer nowadays.
So going from being a cop to a realtor, that's quite the transition. How did you once getting into residential real estate? How did you find? Well, tell me about transitioning over to the dark side, so to speak.
So I never had interest in commercial real estate, and one of another EXP agent in Tampa, we were at a meetup, and she was telling me, "Hey, I think EXP is going to start a commercial division. You should probably look into it." And then she introduced me to a coach in the area who was with Keller Williams at the time. I believe he still is, and he was doing a 2 year course for a commercial. And I said, you know what? Let me go check it out. Let me see if it's something I like. Went to it and saw the avenues and what it takes to get a transaction done, the ins and outs of it. It's more business oriented than as it's not as personal. And I like the business aspect of the commercial side. And from then, I was still in residential, was still doing that, but also learning the commercial side because I need to know enough before I jump into something. So I did that and I started doing some commercial stuff, getting my feet wet, and then eventually I just made the full transition over to commercial.
Was there a specific deal that you were working on, or was there a moment that, like an aha moment where you were like, look, this is it for me. I want all in on this commercial stuff.
I think it was I was with the residential. I was getting called a lot, and they expect the residential clients expect a lot more out of you than um, not saying the commercial uh, clients don't, but they require a faster response.
Mm.
And if we don't get back to them in time, they already move on to another agent. I didn't like that aspect of it. And hey, can you come show me this house in an hour? Um, and it was always like that. I'm always going, going, going. I didn't mind it, but at the time, my girlfriend didn't like it, and I know if I ever want to have a solid relationship, then it's probably not the best avenue for me because
Yeah.
I'm a go-getter and I like to go, go, go.
Yeah.
And if I see an opportunity pop up, I'm going. I'm hopping on it, and I'm in the car. Sorry, babe. I'll be back in about 2 hours. Gone. Go do the thing. Come back, and that didn't work so well.
Well, I mean, I can imagine as a first responder, you get a call and you're like, okay, like I'm in the squad car, like I got my
Mhm.
clipboard, let's do this.
Yep.
Um, yeah, I could see how how you could be extremely successful as a first responder when you get those calls. It's really cool.
Mhm.
Um, as you get into the commercial real estate space, obviously there's just a million different product types, asset classes. In Florida in particular, I'm sure there's, quite a bit of condominium and multifamily development or, residential style commercial real estate. But you kind of worked your way in through some different asset classes. Tell me a little bit about that and
Mhm.
what drew you to those product types.
So really, I was just a generalist and ready to take on anything. Just like if I was working the streets of Philadelphia, any call came in, I handled it. I'm just go, go, go. I'm same it's the same way. But recently I've been trying to focus a little bit more, depending on there's some leases I still do, depending on the size and if the client's qualified and ready to go. So I have kind of stepped back a little bit and kind of put a little bit more focus into things. My first commercial transaction was a gym in Riverview, which is just outside of Tampa, um, and it was a harder deal, which I don't know why. I always get a lot of hard deals, but I get them done. That's the one thing. There was a foreigner that was trying to come in and start a business. He did have some money to back him, so trying to negotiate that lease was a little bit harder for the landlord to accept, just because he wasn't a U.S. citizen yet. But we
Mm.
did figure out a workaround. I negotiated and got him in there, and he's still in there to this day. He actually reached out to me about 2 weeks ago, wants to look for another location. So since he was my first client, I'm going to continue with him. And then also did a warehouse lease as well. That was probably my first two transactions in the commercial industry. And I enjoyed it. I like showing the retail space and seeing what it is, and then come back a couple months later and then see what they did to the unit. That kind of is what drew me more into the commercial, is seeing, hey, this is what we have. We're going to redo it our way, and it's going to be totally different. And I like seeing the transition.
Yeah, that's really cool. And I think it's really cool that your first client ended up coming back to you for more. And I think a lot of brokers will um, stop when the transaction closes with their clientele. They don't continue to enrich those relationships. And I think that's extremely valuable post closing to just continue to follow up with them and bring them value and tell them about market conditions and the relationship and becoming friends is everything in this business, as you know. So that's really cool. The leasing space, you got out of leasing, or you're still doing leasing?
Uh,
Did you get into investment sales?
So right now working on we do have a triple net asset over in Boynton Beach. It's a vacant CVS. It's a dark CVS. So CVS is still responsible for the lease, but they're not paying base rent. They are just responsible for the expenses right now. So we're working on that. It's and then we're also working on. I have a development in Cape Coral. It's 4 buildings right now, flex space, total of 28,000 square feet. It should be delivered by October, hopefully.
Mm.
Fingers are
Hmm.
crossed. But we're already trying to pre-lease some units there. That's a total of 20 units, but obviously people can take a little bit more than what is the minimum space. So could be.
Cool.
And then we actually just got some land under contract again to build another 3 buildings.
Amazing. Amazing. Something I noticed too, your CCIM designation and accreditation, which is a really great additional bit of education that us brokers can take on. For those who aren't aware what CCIM is and what it can do for your business, maybe you can touch up on that a little bit.
So CCIM is Certified Commercial Investment Member. It's a long process. It is, you have some core classes that you have to take. After you take some core classes, it's basically underwriting commercial property, including taxes and how the taxes can benefit the investor. And you can also use their tax bracket. We're not obviously accountants, but we can kind of give a a estimate of what they should be getting, and then they can use that and take it over to their accountant to verify, and then also learn how to um, properly decide. And for a client, somebody is looking to either, they're not sure if they want to purchase a property or lease a property. So what
Mm,
we do is we have different calculations we can do to see, okay, if you put this much in your business, it should grow here. If you put this much into a property, it will grow here. So we kind of see where that happy medium is, and leasing might be a better option for them because they can put more money back into their business.
mm,
So we kind of we advise on what's the proper way to do to make sure that they are obviously using their funds as um, best to the best that they can, and to get
yeah.
more return on their investments for either the business or if it's the property.
Did earning the CCIM actually change how you do deals, or is it more of like a credibility stamp for you? I mean, it sounds like if you're working with sophisticated investors, smart investors, and they see the designation, it's like working with somebody who had like a master's versus a PhD. You probably are going to want to go with somebody who took the additional education that has the knowledge and the expertise.
It definitely changes how I do business, just because we're more of, now obviously with EXP commercial, we're advisors. That's our titles. And going to CCIM help me become a better advisor on which avenue the client should take with regards to real estate. So it definitely has changed my mindset. Um, Before it's like, hey, I want to go buy a property. Okay, great, let's go look at it. And just how I was with residential. That's all I knew at the time. I went through CCIM, and they made me understand how to evaluate the property, how to evaluate their business, and to see advise them on the best option for them,
Mm.
and kind of push them in the correct direction for them.
Yeah, that makes sense. There is an intersection between the real estate and the business, and how you can weave those threads together. I think is huge as an advisor, especially those who are running their own businesses and those who have more of an entrepreneurial brain. Having that ability to underwrite and look at both sides of the coin, I think is extremely important. And how long did that take for you to, to get the designation or the credibility with CCIM?
I want to say 2 to 3 years.
Okay.
So I started the classes before I really had the transaction. So I went through core, what is it called? CI. I forget the acronym for it, but it's a core course. 101 is the basic course. Then there's 102, 103, and 104. There's four major courses, and then the electives on top of that. So I took 101 and I think 104 back to back. And then I started working on my portfolio. So to get your CCIM or even go take the test, you have to show that you actually handled commercial transactions. It's not just you go take schooling and here you go pass the test, you have your designation. Now you actually have to do and present your portfolio. Your portfolio gets reviewed. They have to make sure everything's true and correct, and you actually have to explain what you did on each transaction. And then from there, they either approve or deny your portfolio. Once you get approved for your portfolio, then you can go and schedule the CCIM test, which that test was not easy.
Yeah, I bet. And it better not be, because if it's going to separate you from the knuckleheads or the low bar in the industry, it better give you that shining gold star.
Yeah.
Right. So that's cool. I've been thinking about getting into the CCIM, and, obviously for me, I'm just such a student of the game. I want to learn so much about this space and this industry and the transaction types, and, how people negotiate, and, just want to be a pro, and always want to be a pro. So the credibility is helpful. However, it's just, for me, it's like the learning, the journey of learning. And it sounds like you're the
Mhm.
same, where you just want to become a sponge and just take in as much education as possible, and then apply that education to the work. And that's the fun part, right? Um,
Yep.
you built a national ranking in land and industrial and retail, and those, those aren't really sexy assets, honestly. And I
Mhm.
come from the development side, construction and residential real estate, and so there is a bit of sexiness in multifamily development, I think, comparatively to, like an industrial warehouse. Um, why did you go there instead of chasing multifamily?
Um, I A lot of stuff was more. I like to see ground up development. I want to see what we take one piece of raw land and then change it into something totally different. I like to see the change. Just like police work was not the same thing every day. It was always something different. And I think that's probably why I enjoy the development side, because we're looking at raw land and now it's this development that the developers came up with and um, built. So
Yeah.
I like that. I think that's probably why.
That's cool. Industrial and flex space might be like the most slept on thing in real estate right now. Can you make the case for that? Like, why should an investor care about, industrial flex, or, land acquisition and developing those types of assets?
Well, I think because a lot of so in Cape Coral where we're doing the development, there's a lot of restrictions on commercial vehicles. There's not a lot of storage either. We don't have basements here. We have 2 or 3 car garages, which that's a lot of storage space for your own personal stuff. Um, so the contractors just need a space to put all their equipment, park their vehicles, and stuff like that. So that's kind of why we went to the flex space development, because there's a need for that. There's been a lot of big box industrial in Southwest Florida, and that has not been filling up as quickly
Mm,
just because Amazon already has 2 warehouses in the area. They're building a third one, probably about 10, 15 miles away. There is a lot of warehouse space that's being utilized, but they built so much so fast. We think the flex space is more useful for the small business owners doing
Mm,
HVAC, contractors, and little small businesses. I've had people reach out to me that are doing T-shirts or sign printing and just need a space to work out of. And it can be utilized as that. There's so many different options with the flex space. It's flexible for the uses. So,
yeah, that makes sense. The amount of development that's occurred in Florida just in the last, well, since COVID really is just insane to see how much has gone up. And absorption rates, I think, are still struggling, right? Like we're not seeing, these spaces fill in
mhm.
as readily as everybody would like to see, especially the developers.
Yeah. So with the retail and flex space, the absorption rate's a little bit better. But once you go to the multifamily and office space, yes, it's a long process to try to get any of those classes um, leased up, and the
Yeah.
vacancy rates are obviously higher. For flex space, I think we're around 3 to 4%. So it's pretty tight, especially in the Cape Coral area. There's not a lot of industrial. The
Mm,
industrials over in Lee County or Port Charlotte. There is an industrial hub in Cape Coral, but it's not as big as the county has. So the flex space is a little bit more appealing than the regular
mhm.
industrial. It kind of it has like a retail industrial kind of look, which is what Cape Coral wants to see. But the industrial space, it's just usually in huge industrial parks, and there's just not the land for that in Cape Coral. So
Yeah.
that's why I see flex space being um, grabbed up as quickly as possible.
I'm wondering about last mile logistics then for those warehouses,
Mhm.
particularly with Amazon and UPS and these other big box guys. Are you seeing some of that last mile logistics getting filled into those flex spaces, or is that just a different use case?
It will be a different use case because the last mile, they still have large industrial spaces.
Got it.
I think Amazon, their last mile, it's probably about, I want to say probably 100,000 square feet, and they have lines going in, people sorting out all the different things coming in. They got the 18 wheelers that have to come in and drop
Yeah.
off all the items, and the flex space, there's just not the room for that,
Yep.
especially for the 18 wheelers or anything like that to for distribution.
Really cool stuff, man. Of the three, land, industrial, and retail, which one would you bet your money on over the next 5 years and why?
I would say flex and industrial, just because we now have Instacart, Amazon Prime. Everything is, a lot of people like the convenience of things where it's getting delivered to them. They're not going out shopping as much, especially if it's two parents and a couple kids. It's hard to take the kids grocery shopping. They rather, hey, this is what I need, boom, deliver it, boom, inside. I think that's probably going to be the best space to invest in. Obviously, multifamily, depending on where, there
Mhm.
is definitely a lot of areas that multifamily is always going to be strong. There's always going to be rentals, and a lot of people are renting nowadays instead of purchasing as much because of it's expensive. They
Yeah.
want to, and they also like to move around. They want to live here for a couple of years and go over to another spot, and a lot of people are not buying. And if they're buying, it's usually for investment purposes.
Yeah, that's interesting. I want to get into some deal architecture and developer mindset because I know we're talking a little bit about that, and also your group J3. And I
Mhm.
have a sneaky suspicion that J3 is because the three of you guys have a name that starts with J.
That is
Um,
correct.
talk to me about the developer kind of driven approach to your brokerage, and what does that mean, and how is it different about comparatively to other brokerages in your market?
So, Jared, My partner, Jared Graham, he's been doing developments for the last 10, 12 years. Well, how long have I been? 13 years, I think. And he's been doing mixed use hotel developments, was recognized in the Wall Street Journal for a few of his projects. And he really knows the ins and outs of development, what it takes, what it costs, and also how to see what is coming in the future. So if we have a property owner, we don't only look at the property for the asset it is. We look at the current zoning, the future zoning, and then what is around it as well. Because if we can sell it, the property as A, just what it is currently, or B, to a developer and possibly do an assemblage of parcels for a larger developer, then we would probably try to reach out to the other owners and try to work something out for the whole block or whatever to um, possibly sell it to a developer because there is the potential there. And that includes looking at um, current needs for the type of development that's allowed there.
Mhm.
What is the uh, what's the word I'm looking for? The population growth, age of the population coming into an area is what's currently on the market for that. And if we build this, is is it going to actually be able to be filled up, or is it going to sit there and wait? If it's going to sit there and be unoccupied for so long, and this is what we're predicting to fill it up, then we decide, okay, it might be better to go this route and sell it as is for now. And then let's look at this in another 10 years. Maybe it'll be different. But that's kind of our mindset, is to evaluate the property as is, see what the potential of the property is, and highest and best use now and within the next 5 years, say.
That's great. I heard through the grapevine that Jared is kind of like the Bob Knackle of, Southeast Florida, and
Yep.
having a strong pulse on all that development is massive in bringing value to your clients, I would imagine.
Yes, he is phenomenal. And as soon as Bob Knackle talked about his map room, Jared has the same thing, but on Google Maps.
Yeah, so he took it new school, man.
Yep.
Yeah. That
He's
map
like, I
room
got that.
yeah, right. I mean, it's
Yep.
a it's impressive. I hope one day next time I'm in New York, because we interviewed Bob, gosh, probably about a month and a half ago, and he told us all about
Oh,
his map
nice.
room and the genesis of the story. It's like really, really, really cool stuff. So when I heard Jared kind of doing the same thing, great book.
Yep.
Yep,
Got
yep.
Bob's book.
Him and Rod, they're my guys, man. So having an intimate knowledge, of all that development in Florida is huge, obviously. But where do most investors lose their money currently in those markets? Those quiet mistakes do compound. So maybe you can speak to that a little bit.
So I actually just had a deal like this probably about a year or two ago. Um, a lot of people are, I don't want to say a lot of people, newer investors into a new asset class that they are not familiar with,
Mm,
and they think they partnered up with the right agent or the right advisor on that property. I think that's the biggest thing that I see happening in the real estate market there. And with COVID, the, the obviously the interest rates were great and the prices were very elevated. And now we're coming back into normal real estate and everything's going back to leveling off. Prices are coming down, cap rates are rising, and interest rates are coming down a little bit, but not to where they were. And I think they jumped into something too soon without actually seeing what the long term effects were going to be and didn't have somebody to advise them properly.
mm. The Florida migration post COVID, it was unlike anything it probably has ever anybody has ever really seen. Um, in history, other than maybe like the mid to late 80s, early 90s in California. Here in the Bay Area, there was quite a bit of migration happening where I'm at, due to Silicon Valley and the explosion of technology and computer based technology. Silicon Valley obviously is such a when you think of the Bay Area or California, you think of Silicon Valley and technology. So that's making it really interesting. I'm sure it's making it for some really interesting conversations that you're having right now with the looming debt wall that's upon us, people having to change and trade. But in terms of like what Florida is so well known for right now is like no income tax, um, and the insurance situation becoming kind of an issue. We were looking at I think it was just a modest size 22 unit development project just outside of Hollywood. And it was just a stone's throw away from the beach, but the insurance gutted the deal. It just
Yep.
crushed it. Um, tell me a little bit about what's happening in the pipeline with those Florida markets, particularly now with this rumor, and I don't know if it's true because I don't spend a lot of time in Florida real estate market news, but the property tax
Mhm.
situation. Maybe you can talk a little bit about that. That's interesting.
Yeah, so DeSantis is looking to basically help there's just been so much elevation in taxes over the years that people that come here to retire just can't afford it anymore. So he's looking for a solution for the retirees to be able to stay here and live here without the taxes going up too high. Obviously, cost of living, gas prices, food, everything like that is just going up in everyday use things, and it's overgrown from what their pensions or their 401ks can provide to them to survive. So he put the bill into place where those taxes are not going to be fully eliminated. I think there's still going to be some taxes that are still there, but it's going to be a big discount for homeowners. So only the homeowners will get that benefit
Mm.
that are homesteaded here in Florida. Businesses obviously will still have to pay their real estate taxes and anything like that. So any commercial property, they're still having to pay the taxes. But at the same time, I think there's going to be some things that are probably going to have to be taxed higher or to kind of even that out. So I don't know if the commercial real estate taxes is going to go up. I know
Mhm.
the leasing taxes are not too strict right now. I think I, it's different throughout the state, but some are as low as 2%. So
Wow.
um, there's a lot of things that might be changing, but I have not seen the final outcome yet. But that's what his goal is, to make sure the people that are living here can stay here.
Mm. Yeah, I was wondering how they would backfill the loss in revenue, if they were going to kind of take another level or lever and push this lever up and like a development, because there's probably quite a bit of capital that still comes up from the New England Northeast that's
Mhm,
moving capital down into Florida. I know we've been working with the Toronto group that's been looking to establish a Florida product,
mhm,
particularly around multifamily rental property, and with the insurance and the situations. Particular, I would say probably within specific submarkets. Like you
mhm,
had said, you touched up on it. Some areas, I'm sure of like Miami, are just going to be strong always. So if you find a good location and you can assemble, that sounds like a really good
mhm.
deal. If money came to you tomorrow, though, Jesse, and you're looking to deploy something in Florida right now, Florida commercial real estate today, where would you point that capital?
Um, so I think I would probably put it into some sort of industrial or luxury real estate near one of the beaches.
Oh wow. Okay.
Mhm. Because
Interesting.
that's
Yeah.
where a lot of the the beach markets well, within 15 minutes of the beach is usually within between 5 to 15 minutes of the beach. On the East Coast is where I think I would focus on luxury
Mm,
development. And Jared's doing a luxury condos over there, townhomes, 4 stories, and he's already sold 2 out of the 8. So,
amazing.
um, yeah, so I think that's probably where I would invest. I Jared knows and does his research, and he's very conservative. So I kind of follow his lead. But if he wasn't doing that, then and probably light industrial.
Awesome. I
And
love. I love. Yeah. Go ahead.
retail space is good, like the shopping centers, but the larger shopping centers are starting to die down a little bit and be more vacant. I think people like driving in, grabbing some stuff, and going, like little restaurants and stuff like that. Restaurants are always good in Florida. There's so
Mm,
many of them. So a established restaurant would be another kind of the next level.
yeah. Yeah. I know in certain markets too, like grocery anchored strip centers are just a slam dunk comparatively to other big box tenants that, like a Ross or a TJ
Mhm.
Maxx or some sort of like clothing store. I was going to say, you're part of a group, you're part of a team, and so am I. I'm with, Carl Markarian and the One West group at EXP. And I used to run as a solar operator for, a little bit of time. And then I figured out that, being a part of a team is just way more fun. You get way more access to deals, and
Mhm.
you have a collective, excuse me, mindset that you can work through. What does the right partnership actually give you, Jesse, that just going solo can't?
So with the commercial side, there is just so much work that needs to be done. We have to hold on 1 second. I gotta go grab the door. My apologies.
No worries, no worries. Um, I'll just keep yapping away on live YouTube while you do that.
You should be able to hear me, so I'll talk a little bit while I'm going.
Okay,
But
cool.
yeah. So what? Say the question one more time. My
Yeah.
apologies.
So no, it's all good. We're part of teams, at EXP Commercial, and um, I used to run as a solar operator, and since joining the One West group, and Carl, we're now actively pursuing a massive $2 billion pipeline of assignments, which is phenomenal. Something that I just couldn't do all by myself. Uh, and so, leveraging a group mindset and a collective mindset, a community, has launched my advisory business to a different stratosphere. So I know you're part of the team, this J3 commercial team. You guys sound like you have a powerhouse of different types of asset class professionals. What does that right relationship actually give you that a solo kind of operation can't, in your business?
One, it gives me the backing of somebody that has more experience than I do in the commercial industry, and if I get stuck, I know I have somebody that can help me through it. Obviously, we have a broker as well that can help me through it as well, but we communicate every day. We talk about different deals, different things that are happening, and that just has been a great asset and helped me learn faster than if I was trying to do everything myself. If I'm trying to do everything myself, I would be probably 10 steps behind where I am today. Having that team definitely helps you catapult forward than trying to do everything yourself. I remember I started residential by myself and I learned everything myself, and it took me a lot longer than it would have if I jumped into a team that was already established and knew what to do.
Yeah.
So I think that's been the biggest asset. And then there's also we have there's some administrative stuff that we have somebody else handle that frees up my time to be with clients or go out and find new business.
Yeah. Uh, EXP commercial, very different than your traditional brick and mortar Remax or Coldwell Banker. Why EXP commercial? What did that platform unlock for you that these other brick and mortars can't?
Just the camaraderie we have here at EXP. With the commercial side, with the CCIM, if you are definitely thinking about doing it, I definitely would consider or recommend going to your local chapter to one of their meetings. They should have one every month, and the people that you meet, the experience that they have, the knowledge they have within the market, they are also all willing to help out. Especially if you're part of the CCIM, they help each other out all the time. We do. And it is definitely, that's kind of what I liked about EXP commercial is everybody works together. I know a lot of people with EXP commercial throughout the nation. And I think if I was in, say, a Colliers, I'd probably only know certain people in my office. And then my office would be, hey, you're only doing this job. You're not going to learn and see where you fit in the business. You're going to do what we say, and this is how it's going to get done. You're not doing it by yourself. You can't be a broker until you've done your research or done your cold calling for X amount of years, and then from there you can start progressing up with the
Yeah.
desk fee, the high desk fee.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, you
So,
don't really have a sense of ownership in that regard. And for me, EXP commercial is um, amazing because of the ability that I can run my own business, I can have autonomy, I can build a team, I can leverage the technology, and there's three cornerstone ways you can generate income with the
mhm,
brokerage. You can get it through your production, you can get it through sponsorship, so you can build a downline and the brokerage will give you cream off of the top, meaning that you'll get residual income from the downline's production,
mhm,
and then stock incentives where you can hold equity in the company, and that will obviously grow over time, and a whole slew of other reasons, including the ability to co-broke outside of your turf state, where you
yep,
have your license. So if I wanted to work in Florida, I just pick up the phone, I call Jesse and Jared, like, look, I
mhm,
got a deal, let's work on it together, which is massive. It gives us global reach now.
yep.
And so what aspects of EXP are you kind of in like leaning more into, and tell me about
Mhm.
that.
So I like the production side of things, just because I like to work with my clients and whatnot. But also, I want to start growing my downline and helping newer agents find their way in the commercial industry. So I want to help them because I was new at one time and show them the way to start being successful, and then building that downline and also being a resource to, we have what, 100,000 residential agents, 80 to 100,000 residential agents, and that's where a lot of our leads come from. You can't get that at Colliers or any other brokers out there just because they don't have that residential um, part of the brokerage, and we can team up with a lot of residential agents. So I think just working with residential agents has been a great success for me, and just keeping those relationships open and reaching out and talking to people all the time. But I want to grow my downline and start growing the commercial brokerage and the commercial team that we have. Like, we have the option to join the team, or you can just, if you have the experience and you want to do it solo, you can do that as well. And we both, I'll still be helping
Hmm.
anybody under my downline. So, because it benefits me, it benefits them. And if I don't help them, then they leave, and there's no benefit to myself or EXP anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, I do the same thing here, and I'm beginning to kind of get outside of the state that I work in to prospect those realtors. Because you're right, there is like 100,000 realtors, but comparatively to us in the commercial side or on the commercial side, it's a fraction of that number. I mean, I can't.
Mhm.
You might know the number, but the last time I looked, it was like 800 or something like that on the
Mhm.
commercial side, which is wild. So you have this like blue ocean of business that you can tap into, which is incredible. So um, the the recruitment is, I think we're certainly aligned, and would love to talk to you a little bit, off record to see how we can work together and building our teams out, because there's massive opportunity.
I
Um,
agree. Definitely.
we're kind of winding down here, Jesse, and I. Every episode what we like to do is called the rapid fire round. So
Okay.
I'll just rattle off a bunch of quick questions, and then you just answer, off the cuff, first thing that comes to mind. Man, you ready?
Let's go.
All right. Let's go. Let's start with number one. Land. Well, I think I know this one, but we'll see. Land, industrial, or retail. You have to pick one. Which one you go through?
Land.
Because you can build retail, you can build industrial, you can
Mhm.
build a Disneyland park.
Yep.
Cool. Most overrated asset class right now in your market, Florida.
Mm. I want to say probably multifamily because
Yeah.
there's a lot of vacancy in Florida, and there is still building going on. A lot of people built up and thought it was going to get filled up, and then interest and insurance went up, and people started vacating Florida. We're starting to see
S-
an influx of people coming back, but I think
yeah.
it's going to take some time.
Same with single family homes, right? I would think there's just probably just tracks of just empty houses that
Hmm.
nobody's living in, right?
Yep, there's a lot of second homes that are empty. There's a lot of homes that cannot be rented. I know one of my developers, he also builds single family homes rent to build to rent, and he's selling them because he can't get anybody to rent them right now.
Wow.
Mhm.
What's the most underrated?
I want to say probably uh, industrial. Um, a lot of people are scared to get into it. They don't know it yet. Um, but we're also starting to get to leveling off in the industrial area. But
Mm,
there's still a lot of growth coming in, I think, in the future. Data centers are definitely going to be a big hit with all the AI. We're definitely going to have to find some resources for data centers. So that will fall under industrial as well.
got it. I'm going to hit you on the CCIM stuff. Cap rate or cash flow? Which one do you prefer?
Um, Me, cash flow. I like to know what's coming in. Cap rate, yeah, it's what we purchased the property at. But you're not gonna know what you're gonna sell it for in 5, 10 years. You're not, it's impossible to know exactly. You can guesstimate,
Hmm.
but I want to know what's coming in, um, and how much I'm gonna have, and then if what kind of vacancy we're having and what is over the last 10 years. And then I can say, okay, I'm either going to be low cash flow here or high cash flow here. And anywhere in the middle, I'd be happy.
Awesome. I want to get into the nitty gritty. So we talked about Florida kind of markets, but let's get into some sub markets. One Florida sub market, besides the one that you own in or live in, that you'd invest in tomorrow.
Um, Naples and probably Delray Beach, West Palm Beach.
Mm. And you would do like a land play, development play in the industrial? Would you shoot for multifamily?
Uh, Depends on where. So if it's in Delray, most likely luxury residential multifamily.
Hmm.
Um, Townhomes, just because it's a more beachy area. There's a lot of individuals coming down from New York that are looking for second family or second homes and somewhere where they can come down for a couple weeks and or every other a week, a month, or anything like that, just to get out of New York. And that's more of the East Coast vibe, and then also Naples as well. There's a lot of wealth in both markets, and if there's a new luxury development, um, with the kind of 30 to 50-year-old range, is probably going more towards multifamily than the single family homes for a second home, just for the low maintenance of them.
Got it. What's the best advice you've ever got in one sentence?
Uh, Basically, listen and to what your clients need, and actually pay attention and stay within what they want and what they need, instead of saying, "Oh, this looks like a good deal," um, and especially if they're already been in the business for years and they know the ins and outs. I've tried, "Oh, this one looks like a great deal. It's a little bit out." Nope, next one. It's just you're wasting your time underwriting properties that do not fit in that buy box. And if you listen and you do what they request of you and bring them what they want, then you'll be compensated very well.
Yeah. What about the worst advice that you see in the industry keep repeating?
Um, Hurry up and go do everything. Say yes to everything.
Yeah.
Um, I When I first started, I say yes, I'll do it. Yes, I'll do it. Yes, I'll do it. And there's a lot of clients that I've worked with that it was just a waste of time. And even though somebody told me it was a waste of time, I still wanted to try to get it done because, like when I was a police officer, I just kept going, going, yes, yes, let's go. And I can do this one. I can do that one. I can do this. And then it started taking away from different clients that um, I could have made more money with than the ones that I shouldn't
Mm.
have been spending so much time on.
Yeah.
To
Uh,
basically um, qualifying your clients first to make sure they're going to be a good fit for you. Um, so yeah,
yeah. Couple more. Uh, Finish this sentence. Most people fail in commercial real estate because
they don't pick up the phone.
that's like, CRE 101, man, like
Yep.
prospect, right?
But nobody wants to do it anymore. No one wants to pick up the phone, and um, the best thing you can do is get a list of, like Bob Knackle said, 2,000 people, and keep a system in place to continue touching base with them. Eventually, they're going to sell. And if you have a certain asset class that you're focusing on and you are the expert in there and you're giving them, hey, this just sold down the block for X amount of money, just want to let you know. If is there anything I can help you out with, or do you have another property that I could maybe help you take a look at or give you an evaluation on?
Yeah.
And it's just giving them information, and if they need anything, you're available and you're going to be first in mind. If you call somebody once, they're going to forget you. If you call them once a quarter, they're going to remember you.
I mean, it's good for us, for those who are just picking up the phone and, I just, we're going to pick up all the business because nobody's picking up the phone. So,
So, yeah, the Flex developer I'm working with, the reason I'm working with him is he called me on a Friday at 4 p.m. and he said, "You're the only agent that answered."
wow.
Yep.
Yeah, I did a video about that the other day where we prospect realtors, right? And like I call 1,000 realtors and maybe a handful pick up, you know, but then I
Mhm.
call a commercial real estate advisor or CRE broker, and they pick up the phone in the, you know, beginning of the day, at the end of the day, in the middle of the day, it doesn't matter. They always answer the phone comparatively to the residential side, which is beyond me. But
Mhm.
um, last question, man, and this has been great. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome.
One word for what real estate has given you. Just one word.
Uh, New, just one word. Hmm. Perspective.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I didn't get in real estate, I would have never saw this other world out there compared to law enforcement.
That's awesome. That's a good answer. Something that we haven't really heard too much on the show, but perspective is it's
Mhm.
everything. I agree.
Yep.
Well, cool, my friend. This has been a great conversation. I really appreciate it. I'd love for people to learn how they can find you and your team and give you a call and work with you.
Yeah. If you want to get in touch with me, I'm in Southwest Florida. My phone number is 239-788-7820. And you can visit our website, the number 3, CRE for commercialrealestate.com.
Awesome. I really appreciate the time, man.
I appreciate you and thank you for having me on this podcast.
You
Have a good
bet,
one.
man. You too. Take care.